Welcome back for another video. I decided to go live today. It's just a little bit easier for me to go live today. I just wanted to show you a little bit about what I've been doing lately, and they are mandalas. I've really been into mandalas lately. The whole meaning behind them is just very cool, inspirational, and they're just usually circular motions, circular shapes. And it usually starts from the inner, and it usually radiates out, and it symbolizes it usually has symbols and shapes in here, but sometimes you can put like flowers and leaves or whatever you want in there, but mine mostly have just shapes. And I've been learning a Neurographica process lately. It's an algorithm drawing process that kind of brings in meditation and spirituality along with art and meditation. And I've been learning that lately, so I wanted to incorporate that into my mandalas. So to get started, I have got my watercolor paper, and I've got my watercolors. I'm using Winsor Newton today, and I've got a brush here. I think it's a size 12. It's a Grumbacher, and I'm also going to be pulling in later a couple of different pens. I've got a Sharpie, a fine point, and then I've got a 1.0 fine liner pen that I'm going to be bringing in later as well. But I just wanted to show you what I've been up to. So I've just made so many of them. I actually did a little quick video on this one last night if you want to go back and rewatch it. It's just a fast video that I had uploaded last night. So here's another one. This one here I did draw in a couple of leaves on this one and a little flower. This one here is just shapes, and I went in with the watercolor and then some marker, black marker. I also bring in my Prismacolors, which I think I'm going to do today, is bring in some of my Prismacolor pencils. So here's another one, mostly purples. Here's another one. So I just have like a whole bunch. Oh, and then another thing I do is I bring in the center usually, a watercolor cutout that I made. Here, let me pull some from my drawer. So I make these, they're like little geode forms, and I cut them out, and I usually bring them into the center of my mandala, and I'll just paste it on there. It just brings in a little extra color, a little extra depth into the painting. And then I usually cut them out. Sometimes I'll leave them square, but mandalas are usually circular, like I said before, so usually I do cut them out. All right, so let's get started. Put those away. All right, I'm gonna wet my page. I do have it taped down right now, just because it buckles once I wet it, and I'm just gonna spray it with some water. And I'm gonna spray my watercolors as well. And I think today I'm going to be using, let's see, I'm going to bring in a little indigo. And I'm going to start, like I had said, mandalas usually start from the center point out. And I am going to just do a little spiral on this one using indigo. And I like to wet my paper first with these because it just, the water just, the paint just kind of follows the water along. So it's not going to be perfect. I like when these are not perfect. So that it looks a little bit more handmade, a little bit more organic. And I think I'm going to bring in a little bit of my cobalt green. And you're going to want to leave some white space on these. Some of them, well, I shouldn't say always. I don't always leave white space. Some of them, like the ones I just showed you, some of them don't have white space, but I am a sucker for black and white. So when I go over it with my black pen, I like to do the black marks usually on the white. It just has a little pop of, I don't want to say color because they're not really colors, but it pops your painting out a little bit. All right, so the next color, let me bring in, I think it's a vermilion. And I'm going to leave a little bit of white space again. And I think I'm going to bring in a little bit of my cad red. I just want it a little bit deeper. Now, if you hear all that noise in the background, again, I've said this on plenty of videos, I have 3 dogs, and I gave them all bones before I started this video to keep them quiet. And then I think I will also pull in, what is this one? I think this is my yellow ochre. And actually, I want this one to bump right up to the orange. Now it's bleeding off my page a little bit on this side, but that's okay. I'm going to be cutting this out anyways. All right, and I think a little bit deeper red in here. And I think I'm going to deepen up my green a little bit. Now, if you wanted to use a little bit more muted colors when you do this, you can. You can use any colors you want. These are just the colors that I chose today. So normally what I would do is I would let this dry or blow dry it, but for the sake of the video, I am not going to do that because I will spare you all that noise of listening to a blow dryer. So I do have one that's prepared already that I used the same colors, and it is dry already. All right, let me just straighten this out. Okay. All right, so at this point what I do is I go in with my Sharpie. Where is my, I had a fine point Sharpie here. Where did, oh, here it is, way over here. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make a couple circles. You can make circles, squares, triangles, whatever you want. This is supposed to be just more of a meditative process. And I'm gonna go in and just make, and again, I'm doing this freehand. Otherwise, you could trace a stencil if you want to, but I like the look of freehand. I'm going to go in and make a couple of lines where I left some negative space. And I'm going to follow along with my negative space, exactly where it decided to bleed, and leave a little negative space. I feel like it is, you just follow along with that. Just brings a little bit more interest. So I'm doing little lines. You could do little circles, little stars, little polka dots, whatever. Whatever is calling to you. Okay, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do it on these as well. Up here, all this negative space. So like I said before, I really like the look of black and white together. It really pops a painting or a drawing. I always have. It's kind of like my signature in most of my paintings is black and white. So now that I'm doing art, my art's a little bit different from what it used to be. I still want to incorporate that black and white somewhere in my paintings because that's the one thing I've carried along throughout the years is my black and white. Now I made a live last week, and when I uploaded it, I realized there was no volume. I must have somehow pressed the mute button. So I am so hoping that I did not press the mute button today. If I did, I will probably have to go ahead and redo this video as well for you probably another day. But I'm hoping I can upload this video with you being able to hear me. Now these lines don't have to be perfect. I'm not spacing them out with a ruler or anything. I'm just eyeballing them, kind of where my white is. And if you wanted to go over your color with the black pen, or any color pen for that matter, you definitely could. This is supposed to be yours. This is just more of a meditation practice. It's supposed to calm you down, relax your nerves. Maybe if you do a couple mandalas like at the beginning of your day or even at the end of your day, it just relaxes you. I'm going to bring smaller little lines there and connect it. There. I just love the look of that. For some reason, I love when things are evenly, they look even, but they're not exactly even, symmetrical, I should say. It's like I've got it all the way around, but it's a little bit thinner on this side and thicker on that side. I love the look of organic beauty, probably because I'm a gardener and I love painting flowers and nothing's perfect out there. So I think I'm just attracted to that look. All right, I am going to do some neurographic lines now. I'm not really here to teach you about Neurographic today because that's a whole different process I'm in the middle of learning. But I do love the thought behind the Neurographic lines. So what it is nothing's in a pattern. It just organically goes on your page in a very organic manner. You just draw lines from one side to the other. And then where anything intercepts, you round out. So let's say I have two lines like this that intercept. What you're gonna do is, these sharp corners here, subconsciously in your mind, are just, it's kind of like a stressful, it's a stressful line and you just wanna calm it down a little bit. So what you do is you go in and you round it. And it's just easier on the eyes, it's easier for the subconscious to digest. So wherever you have something that intersects, two lines that intersect, you round it out, okay? So let's do a couple more. And again, it goes from one side to the other. And it's just intuitively where you want the line to go. You could draw as many lines as you want. And then what you do is where they intersect, like this one, you just come in. Actually, I am gonna use, my Sharpie marker bleeds a little bit on me. This one here does not. So I'm gonna use this one. You just kind of round out your edges. But one day I will be knowledgeable enough to teach you Neurographica. I'm getting all my certifications in it right now, and I'm having a really good time. Actually, you know what? Let me move to a larger. This one is a size 1, whereas that one was a size 4. This is a size 1, so it's a little bit larger. It just doesn't bleed as much as my Sharpie, especially on the watercolor paper. Sometimes it bleeds a little bit. So see how I just made my line a little bit crisper and the corners a little bit curved like that? That's a Neurographic line. And you can trace your lines if you want to. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. So where I came here, I'm just going to round them out like that, all my corners. Here's another one. Now you don't have to round them all. Let's say you have like a ton of lines. You do not have to round them all. But I would say a good portion of them you should. And even if you just want to trace that shape, there's like a shape in here that the line's made. Even if you want to just trace that shape in a circular motion with no corners, you could do that as well. And you can go over your lines as many times as you want. Again, it's just a little bit easier for the subconscious to digest curves rather than angles. Easier on the eye, a little bit more relaxing. And actually the process of this, the whole reason for Neurographica is to calm your nerves, bring you into more of a meditative state. So that's the reason for all this rounding. I know a lot of people find it kind of annoying to sit here and round your corners, but you just have to get into the groove and just start to relax. And it's actually very therapeutic. And look how pretty it is too. Now, see how that didn't connect completely there, which is normal. That's just the way the hand normally goes. You're not going to trace anything perfectly. I just usually go in and I fill it in, just so your line is a little thicker in some areas. Just make sure all your little corners, or most of your corners, are rounded. Let's see, I think I did them all. And you can go back in and add more if you want to, which I think I do want to add a few more. Let's go. And another thing with neurographic lines, if you feel like the line wants to go down, then go up. If you feel like it wants to go right, then go left, or vice versa. It's just supposed to be kind of getting your brain trained to doing the opposite. Oh, my dogs are fighting over a bone right now. Here's another one. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with all these mandalas. I just love making them right now. I did cut one apart the other day and incorporated it into a painting. I've got this really cool whimsical landscape, watercolor landscape series going on. I've been doing it for a couple years now and I'm really enjoying it. So I tore apart one of my mandalas and I turned it into kind of like a, I don't want to say like the sun or the moon, but maybe like a different planet in one of my paintings, and it turned out really cool. I really like it. Maybe I'll attach a photo of it to this video. So I know I want to incorporate these mandalas somewhere in my painting. I just am trying to figure out how to incorporate it. All right. Now another thing with neurographic art is you always have, this is supposed to be all like, think of them as all like your little neurons in your brain. And you want to bring the energy across the page. So what I normally do and what I've been taught is you bring in what's called a field line. And a field line is a thicker line from one side to the other. And it's any line that's kind of speaking to you that you want to just kind of bring out a little bit. So I think this line is calling to me, and you don't even have to stay and trace the line completely. You can make a whole different line if you want to also, or just get off course if you want to. Like I'm tracing this one a little bit, but I'll probably go off course. Like that. And then you could just come in and thicken it up in certain areas. You want this line to be kind of the energy moving across the page. It's just supposed to activate all the little neurons that you just created. And I like to thicken up some of the edges a little bit, just so it has a little bit of play, of thick and thin. It just brings a little bit more interest to the drawing or the painting. And you can have more than one too. Let's say you wanted to do another one. This line down here is speaking to me. So let's say you wanted to connect it. You could do a whole different line, or you connect it. You can connect it right off this one. And I'll make another. And then you're going to want to round all of these to your existing lines as well. This is just a great exercise just to relax the brain a little bit. thicken it up down here. Okay, so now what you're going to do is I'm going to go back to my pen, and wherever this field line, this thicker line, is joining all my neurographic lines, I'm going to round them so it becomes part of the drawing. Actually, take my number 1 again. My number 4 doesn't want to seem to be working today. So it just, rounding all these little corners again, it just brings the painting together, the drawing together. So it becomes part of it. So the field line doesn't just stand out. It becomes actually part of the drawing. All right, I think I joined it to the painting. And if you want to smooth out any lines, go for it. And you can always work on it later too. Especially if you have like a lot of lines, there's going to be a few that you've missed. You can always go back into the drawing later. All right, beautiful. I think I want to start adding a little colored pencil. You can go back in with watercolors if you want to, or I'm going to be bringing in, let's see, let me grab a couple, what color is this? Indigo. My Prismacolor pencils. What's this one? Let's see. Crimson red. And let's bring in a yellow. What's this one? This one's really pretty. This one's called Mineral Orange. Let's try that. And then I also have a yellow orange. All right, so what you could do is you can start making shapes with these, or just start actually coloring in certain areas that are speaking to you. And right now, actually I want to bring in a green too. Where's my green? This one is called Peacock Green. That's pretty. And there's certain shapes in here that are starting to call to me a little bit. So I think I'm going to just start filling them in. And with Neurographica, you don't want to just fill in one area and leave it by itself. It's supposed to be a couple different areas together to connect, that are connecting. So I'm going to go and just start filling in certain connecting little shapes here. And they may even start speaking to you and looking like certain images. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. But it's supposed to be mostly just about just bringing the energy across your drawing. And again, I'm using Prismacolor pencils. You can use any kind of colored pencil you want. The Prismacolor pencils are just really soft, and they just glide on my paper a little bit easier. And if there's a certain area where you don't want to color it in all the way, you don't have to. You can leave a lot of negative space also. White space is totally fine on your for some reason up here. I don't know why, but this is where it wants to go. And like I said before, you do not have to do the whole shape. You can leave some of it negative without color if you want. But I think it wants to come down here. I don't think I'm going to do the whole thing up here. I think I just want it more on the edge. And I'll probably be cutting this out anyways, so that's totally fine. Even if you don't end it, you know, completely around the circle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just push a little deeper right around this edge. For some reason, I just want to emphasize this edge a little bit right here. Okay. I think I'm going to wrap it around even more. So that's what I was talking about before. You can push the pencil to make it a little bit deeper for the color. Now it's going to look different on all the different colors that are underneath it. For instance, here it looks a little bit more purple because red and blue make purple. And over here it looks a little bit brighter because I'm putting it actually on the red and the yellow watercolor. So it's going to look a little bit different depending on where in your painting you're putting it. And I'm just going to bleed that out a little bit. Feather it out with my pencil. I'm just going in little circular motions, little ovals. Oh, I guess my hand did want to cover this all up, so I'm just going to go ahead and cover it all up. I thought I was going to leave some negative space, and for some reason I didn't, which is fine. It just means that's where it was meant to go. For some reason it wanted to go there. And I think a little red down here too. I don't know why, but I think I need a little red down here too. I'm going to sharpen this really quick. It's nice to keep a little point on your pencil. The shading just works a little bit better. So if you have an electric sharpener, it comes in very handy in this area. It's really interesting to also look at these drawings or paintings when you're done and just kind of reflect back, see if anything means anything to you, any kind of shape came up, what kind of colors did you use, what did that color mean, what kind of mood are you in. It just, if you do these even at different times of the day, just to see how your mood changes throughout the day. And we can get into another time what all the colors mean. I study the chakras, and I love learning about them and what they mean. And all the chakra colors, they all symbolize something different. And it's neat just to see what colors you're playing with that day. What does it mean? What are you feeling? What do you think you need to bring into your life maybe that day? Again, I'm just going to deepen up one of my sides here. You don't have to deepen up your colors, like I said before. This is your drawing, your painting. bring in a little of this. Oh, you know what? Let's try this one. Mineral orange. I don't know, it just sounds cool. Okay, I think it needs to go up here. Now it's going on a little bit blue because, I'm sorry, it's going on a little bit more of a brown tone because blue and orange are opposites and on the color wheel. So when opposites hit each other, mix with each other, they neutralize each other. So it's looking a little bit more brown up in that area, which is pretty interesting. I've done these with watercolor markers as well, and watercolor pencils too, and it's really cool. You can do this with anything, pastels, anything. But watercolors are my favorite. So I love doing them with watercolors. And then of course colored pencils over them, it just emphasizes it a little bit. But you don't have to use colored pencils. You can use markers. You could just use more watercolor and just deepen up some of your colors. This is interesting. I think I want to add a little of this yellow orange, deepen it up a little bit. And I like how it is kind of muting down my Sharpie, on my black pencil or black pen, black marker on here. It's muting it down a little bit when you go over the black lines, which I like that look. It just kind of pushes it into the background a little bit. You know that they're still there, but it just pushes it into the background. That's pretty. I almost feel like it needs to go up this way too, now that I did that. So some of the black lines I go over, and some of the bolder black lines I don't, but that's totally your call. If you want to go over your black lines completely, it will mute them down a little bit. I'm just bringing in both colors that I did on this side so I can mimic that look. And if you want to crispen up some of your lines again, just go back over them. It goes over your colored pencil pretty nicely. That's pretty. I think I'm going to deepen up a little bit of my green too, so I'm going to sharpen this really quick. These are just, they turn into, I know it's like a relaxing process and it's just supposed to relax you, but sometimes the end product turns out beautiful. Not always. Sometimes I'm like, what did I just make? Which is kind of fun too. You're like, why did I do that? But sometimes they turn into beautiful little drawings and paintings. And it's nice just to even go back and look at them like the next day. Sometimes you see something different in there. It's also nice if you have an intention for your drawing, if you ask yourself a question and then you just start to do the drawing and painting process. Sometimes you get your answers in your drawing because your subconscious is kind of speaking to you through your drawing. And sometimes you get the answers you needed. That's why Neurographic And this is not a true neurographic drawing or painting. I know that. Like I said, I'm still learning it. There's a lot of rules. I think I've finished 5 of the 9 certificates so far, which is a good amount. There's a lot to learn, and I know that this is not a true neurographic drawing, but it's still nice just to do. Just to calm your nerves a little bit. It's just another form of meditation. It's just a visual meditation, is what I like to say. It's just a form of a visual meditation. Look how pretty that is. I think I want to deepen up a little bit in here too. And then one thing I really like to do is go over this with my white pencil. White Prismacolor pencil is awesome for blending, but it lightens up your colors and it brightens them up a little bit as well. And it just kind of blends everything together. So I'm gonna pull in a white Prismacolor pencil and show you what I mean. Let me sharpen it really quick. Okay, as you can see, I've used this one a lot. I'm gonna have to go get another one. But let's say we wanted to lighten up this area a little bit. Take your white pencil and it goes over it beautifully. Look at that. And it just blends your color together and lightens it at the same time. You can always even make texture in here by doing it in maybe swirls or playing with it, maybe doing horizontal lines, vertical lines in one area and horizontal lines in another area. It just makes your drawing have a little bit more texture. Look at how pretty that is. And you don't have to do the whole area, maybe just parts of it. That's pretty. I think I want to do the same thing here. It's just neat to see how all the colors blend together. Colored pencil on the watercolor, and then the white pencil on the colored pencil, bringing in a little bit of your black pen or whatever colored pen you want. This is truly mixed media. You could even throw in some pastel in here if you want to. Look how pretty that is. It just kind of blends it together. I don't want to say fogs it up, but it kind of like, I don't know, mutes it a little bit. Brings like this hazy look. That's what I'm trying to say. It brings like this little hazy look to it. I love that. I think I want to do that with the green as well. Now, I'm not sure if other brands of the white colored pencil will do this. I just know that Prismacolor is really soft. So it works beautifully on this. But I should probably try other brands as well and see if it does the same thing. I've been using Prismacolor since high school, pretty much. Prismacolor markers and pencils. I just love that brand. I've been using it forever. Gives a soft look, almost like a chalky look. Almost like encaustic also, really. It's very waxy. It's a very waxy pencil. And encaustic is wax, so it kind of gives it this encaustic look, and I've always been attracted to that look. This is really cool. I'm just wondering what it is meaning to me. I'm going to have to stop and think about this for a minute. And like I said before, it's nice to go over some of your black lines just to kind of soften them a little bit into the background. Like that one. Just softens it. But like, see some of these black lines, the thicker ones, I just left alone. I didn't go over it because it is nice to have some that are nice and dark. You could always use just a blending pencil also. Let's see, do I have a blending pencil? I used to. Maybe I used it all. Let me see what I've got in here. I've got all my pencils in here. Charcoal. I used to have a blending pencil, which it looks just like a regular pencil. Oh wait, here, is this one? Yep, here. It's called a colorless pencil. I didn't even use this one yet, but it goes on pretty much the same. It just blends your colors without making it lighter. That's all it does. So it would just still keep your nice dark red, but blend it without lightening it up into like a pink. So that's really nice too. So you could even go out and get one of those too. All right, so I think that's enough with the white pencil. All right. And I think at this point, I want to start thinking about what I want to do in my middle here. So I'm going to get some of my little geodes out and start playing around. Ooh, here's one that's speaking to me right away. Look at how pretty that is. You could do any size. Here's a green one. Ooh, green would be really pretty too because it's got the green going right across. Let's see if I've got a red one. Oh, I've got a small red one. That'd be really pretty too. Or you could pick up a color that's not even really in here. Here's an orange. That's really pretty. That's a little bit bigger. For some reason, I think the green one is just like really speaking to me. I really like that. So I would go ahead and glue that on also. So I'm going to take, I've been using this forever, since college years. It's called Eileen's Techie Glue. You can find it anywhere. Put a little glue in there, blend it around. Make sure you get all your little edges. And hold it for a couple seconds. Okay. How pretty that is. That really it's just a little pop. I could go in and add more pencil to this if I wanted to. I could go in and add more neurographic lines if I wanted to. But I am going to go ahead and take my scissors, and they're very old. These were my grandmother's. For some reason, I wanted these when she passed away because I would see her use these all the time as she was knitting to cut her yarn. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out a circular. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Trim a little bit off over here. There. I think that turned out pretty cool. You could also go ahead, like on this one, for instance, I made like little circles. You could do anything. This one here, I made more like little tree shapes with little check marks. Here's another one with more like these little tree shapes. You can come in with some lines and polka dots. Oh, here's another one that I had done that I actually put like blue teardrops on the outside of it. These are my cutouts. So you could really do anything. I might add some circles. You know what? Let's go ahead and add. I'm kind of feeling like it needs some circles. Go ahead and take my Sharpie. And you can round out some of your edges. So this is what I mean. So if you see a round shape in there, you can already just go in and make some circles if you want to. Then round it with your existing lines so it's easier on the eye, it's connected to the painting. Here's another circular shape. Round it off at the corners here. So it's very round. Let's see, I kind of see another round circle right here. Now circles are the easiest shape for accept. It is also the strongest shape in nature. So it's very pleasing on the eye. Soft. Look how pretty that is. Let me add another one here. And you can add as many as you like. But then just remember to round your edges. Oh, I think one's right here too. And I'm just using my fine tip Sharpie for this. That's really pretty. I'm kind of thinking that's, well, maybe one down here. Let's do one more little one right here. There. Perfect. I really like the way that turned out. I'm debating if I want to do little polka dots on the white of this. Oh, but you know what I do want to do is I want to go ahead and just make the center of this a little bit deeper. And you could do that with your watercolors or your pencil, your colored pencil. I just feel like it needed a little bit more depth in the center of it. There. Maybe that's all it needed. There. All right, I'm going to call this one done for now. I might add a little bit more to it later on. You can even go in and color in some of your circles if you want to, but I'm going to call this one done. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I just kind of opened your mind up to exploring new mediums and new kind of drawings, way of drawings or paintings. And please subscribe to this channel if you can, if you want more videos like this one, and give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And I hope to see you again. Bye.